Right, hopefully that's worked and I've got a stream running. Flying the Fenix Airbus A320 today from Bali, which you can see on the left here, to Surabaya, which is on the main island of Indonesia, where Jakarta is. So yeah, we'll be departing Bali. As you can see, it's just had sunrise, so the sun's just coming up. We're over the horizon now, so we're definitely in the early morning hours. I believe local time is something like 5 AM really. Just taxied, we've got both engines started. I'm just going to plug in some performance data. We've already chosen our departure routing. I'm taking the Sron to Bravo, departing runway 27, facing towards the west. So no flying off into sunrise, we'll be flying away from the sunrise. Let's see, hopefully the lighting will still be this nice by the time we get to Surabaya. So 126, 135, 135. I think I've already accepted the load sheets and all that. Flaps 1 down 1 and flex is 68, so 1/down 0.1 and 68. There you go, there's our engine data setup. We've already set 1 plus F. Predictive wind shear on, system 1, multi-scans auto, GCS to auto, speed brake arm, engine mode to normal. We're on the the transponder, and we're setting our TCAS to TARA. I'll give you one tiny notch there. We'll use a flight plan on this page, and we're going to have this page with the performance data. Auto brakes to max, run and chronometer. Parking brake release, engine up, TO config check. TO config's normal, and we'll just spool the engines up enough to get us taxiing out. So about that much, 30% M1. Brakes work. And sort of a celebration flight. I just passed my PPL skills test today, so I am officially an actual pilot. Haha! Madness. Who'd have thought it? Me in the skies. For real. Very sensible, don't worry. As you can probably tell by my videos, I'm actually very sensible when I fly. Right. Runway turn off lights, taxi lights on, strobes are auto, APU can go off. Signs on, alarms, all that stuff's done. That can go on. GS mode off, and just make sure we hold the centre line of the taxiway. But left, there's no obstacles. We're going slightly quickly, so we'll reduce speed slightly to keep it below 30 knots really. Route-wise, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to share my Navigraph screen just yet, but there's no longer a watermark on it. But basically we're departing Sron to Bravo to Surif, Surif direct to Movmo, and then Movmo to Sapal, and then we should eventually get to Whiskey Alpha Romeo Romeo. You can see some nice bridges over there in the bay. Bali International Airport behind, Siri from Aerosoft, if anyone's interested. APU's available, right. Dots and dashes, altitude set, dots and dashes, so we're all in manage mode, that's good. Autopilot set up for departure. QNH 1009, that's local QNH, just press B to check. What else can we check? We'll go into our metadata and just a quick Google search of the METAR basically, which is this here. That'd be the real world equivalent. It's quickly going on your phone and Googling what's the METAR. So 0304, temperature 26, QNH 1009, that's fine, there we go. So 4 knot tailwind on departure roughly, not even full tailwind, so probably about 1 or 2 knot tailwind component, which is absolutely no problem, because we're in an Airbus A320. Left side clear, right side clear, strobe lights on, taxi lights to take off, and packs off. Slightly overshoot it nearly, and then we'll just spin it around onto the mark. It's the one thing I need to get used to is how to actually unwind the tiller. Okay, brake set 50% M1. actually going to use the CPU for my displays. So pause for a second there, and then I'll stabilise good. Or cause a CTD. Display rendering's gone to pants, there you go, that's better. Definitely prefer using GPU with me. Quickly had to alt-tab out of the game there, and that's what caused that nonsense. Hey, P1 online! Climb out. We're probably holding our V2 speed until we reach our minimum safe altitude. That's our max climb angle speed, which today is 138 knots, I think. Yeah, 135. See, the takeoff is now green. When we get to that altitude, we will PAX back on. Throttle slightly idle, so PAX going on first. We're going to use throttle back to idle to thrust climb. Here the engines change pitch. And I wonder if there's any way of me improving. Displays multi-threading maybe. Yeah, displays multi-threading seems to have fixed it there. Cruising altitude today 28,000 feet. We should start a right turn shortly. When we get to our S speed, I'll pull the flaps in and we'll see what's changed in the sound. So go, flaps coming in now. So as you hear them, it should get quieter. And it starts to get more wind noise against the windshield. So what have they changed? Minor fixes to sound, particle FX reworked for improved performance, refactored cockpit wind further, so more notable change can be heard below 280, increased the volume of brake fans, N2 volume on approach increased and improved. Cockpit wind is now tied to environment sound slider. If you leave it at 100%, you'll get the most accurate experience. Added seat movement sounds. Cabin lights are now dimmed when set to off. TCAS horizontal range being fixed, VNAV calculation error fixed, screen brightness set to maxed. For cold and dark, that was a little bit annoying to be fair, and actually it has made a nice difference. So rather than starting the engine, starting the aircraft and having to turn all the screens on, you just start the aircraft and the screen's already on. More variables for which brake temperature modelling is disabled during GSX pushbacks. Localizer capture in heading mode improved. This is a big one that I have noticed when trying to fly ILS approaches. You almost always overshot the glide path, so this is hopefully a good improvement. They fixed several crashes and exceptions and fixed the too steep path message, which used to come up an awful lot. Right. I just can turn off all the lights and put that to there. So Volanta has us, where are we? Yeah, so on the right hand side is the island of Bali. With me, hey! Up to you, really. Difference in the cabin noises. Ah yes, environment sounds, let's quickly check that is set up. Yeah, it's auto 100, good. Control 0. That seems realistic, nice noise. Navigraph Charts 8 is launching next week. I've been testing it for a while over summer, comparing it to SkyDemon and such, and it is fantastic. It's, for a simulator software, it's absolutely amazing, honestly. For about the same price as SkyDemon. Difference is SkyDemon doesn't give you Jeppesen charts, and I actually think when I start doing things like IVFR and flying, obviously if I'm actually flying real IFR, it's not okay to use Navigraph, but for getting an idea of where the approach is, 90% of the time the charts are in date. 99% of the time even. So, yeah. Not saying you should use Navigraph charts in real world at all. But if you are a visual GA pilot, using Navigraph to get an idea of instrument procedures when you might not have any idea is actually not a bad shout. Unless, of course, you do have access via flight clubs or something to something real like Jeppesen. Back to the front. Oh, it's very quiet here now. Okay, so there's our arrival. More approach. What we're going to do is get the METAR. 260 at 2 knots, 4,000 meter visibility in haze, view at 020, 2423, so we're near to the dew point, and Kunitron 009. That spread is going to increase as we're in the early morning, so that's just going to get better. The conditions are, however, yeah, IFR conditions. So I recommend 2.6, so VOR 2.8. Yeah, let's do an RNAV approach runway 2.8, that's probably our best option. We're at Movmo, so we're going to take Movmo 1 Delta, I presume. Yeah, that looks about right. And we're going to go via, let's have a quick look on Navigraph, that's going to tell me much more information, it's a much better overview and it's also very visualised. So runway 28, Movmo 1 Delta, and RNAV 28 is our best option. And we'll do it via Sadpu. Sounds horrific, to be fair. Sadpu. Sadpu, there we go. So Movmo 1 Delta, runway 28, Sadpu. That was me twitching my feet a bit there, see. Right, let's get the chart out. Now that we know what we're doing, Navigraph tells us what we're doing and the chart tells us exactly how to do it. So, WARR, approach. Let's look at the arrival first, runway 28 are our arrivals. We come from Movmo, Sapal, Bogom, Sadpu, final. And RMP runway 28, as it's I think a more precise approach. We'll see what the VOR approach actually says. Let's get the ground charts, airport info. So it's a single runway, we've got terminal on the right and it looks like the Navy hangar on the left, so we don't want to go down there. So we're going to vacate right, probably by November 2, maybe November 3 Sierra. Hotspot says 109A, which is in this part here. Hotspot 1 taxi is closed for taxi out to runway 28 and used for incoming only or instructed by a traffic control. So that is a taxi available for arriving aircraft, but not for departing. Approach. Then let's have a look at the star. RMP 28. Let's look at our minimums. Minimums here is visibility of 1900 or 2700 if the approach light system's off. If it's on 1000 meters or 1800 meters, we've got 4000 meters, so we're with minimums for both situations in the worst case. Our decision height is 337 feet or 470 feet, depending on whether or not we're using LNAV, VNAV, or just LNAV. We'll be using VNAV as well, as we have availability. Checking the VOR approach now, so what's better? VOR is 470 and 1800 meters or 2700. So basically the VOR approach is as good as using the RNAV approach in LNAV only, so we're going to discard the VOR approach as RNAV is much easier to set up. Not much easier, it's almost the same actually, because VOR approaches are now basically treated as RNAV approaches in in Airbus, as it just sets all the fixes up as if they were on our GPS fixes. So yeah, we'll do on-nav approach RMP runway 28. Moving through here, they got ATIS at 1282. All of these radar approaches which are not online. John Tower is this one. Ground 189 on a final approach course 278. Tepet mandatory, not that mandatory, but that's the final fix at 2,000 feet. Minimum of 337, so we'll set that in here. Performance, next phase, approach. Descent, approach 337 feet. And elevation is 11, runway is at 8 feet. Missed approach direct to low tech, 3,500 feet for holding or as instructed. So as instructed means I'm going to go into a short traffic pattern and make a final short approach with full flaps. Circling to land is permitted. Visibility is to be at least 2.4 kilometers if we are flying below 180 knots. Above 180 knots, 4.3 kilometers, which we don't have. So no circling approach unless we're going slower than 180, with minimums of 520 feet. So unlikely to happen. We'll probably just go straight in for 28, given that is the best wind. Grand. Right, where's low tech then? Let's see if we can find it on here. High Airways. That's where we're going, yes, correct. Where's low tech? Interesting. Nowhere to be seen. Ah, here we go. Oh, still not in there. Anyway, quick landing information then. Let's have a look. We're going to be WARR runway 28. We're expecting good or medium. Apply METAR, refresh METAR, apply METAR again. There is no rain reported and no runway condition reported. Just a few clouds at 2,000 feet in a haze at 4 kilometers. Visibility landing weights then is going to be on our init page. We do 54.1 plus 4.1, that's 58.2. No, that's 58.2, sorry. Good. 582. Boom. Right, low auto brake and idle reverse is going to get us in time. We've got landing distance available of 3 kilometers and landing distance required is 2.025. Just 2.25 kilometers. That's 2.025 kilometers. Divided by 1,000, obviously. If we multiply that by 1.15, then we get to 2,329. So we're okay with water brake low. Next phase, are we at our cruising altitude? Yeah, we're at our cruising altitude. We'll be coming down shortly anyway. You can see we're coming over some mountains here. Got some mountainous terrain around Indonesia. Destination data, so we're looking at 2602 and 24. Boom. 24 is the temperature on the QH9. Is 100. Ding. All in there. Yeah, okay, all set up. Just make sure to press approach before we get to the altitude constraints, because otherwise we will just hold the altitude. So I'm just going to arm it now. There you go. Why not? On the approach mode already. As all it does is just means that we're assuming we're cleared for the approach, which we are, because I'm flying on Unicorn, so nobody can tell me what to do. So how far are we from our top of descent? 10 miles? Yeah, that's a good point to start descent, so I'm going to put it to 3,000 feet. Left click, right click, so it's a push to the aircraft, gives it to the aircraft essentially. So starting our descent now, just coming past Movmo. Little zigzag here is basically we're going to go from 1,000 feet per minute intercept descent to our full profile descent. We're on constraint now. Company message is probably just another load sheet which I haven't acknowledged. Maybe it's both load sheets which I both haven't acknowledged. That's just the one I haven't acknowledged. Okay, performance wise we're going to activate approach phase when practicable. NavRad, is there anything to set up? Let's have a look and see if there's a VOR that we can have tuned as a relevant fix. There is a VOR. D VOR is 113.4, so it's a Doppler VOR, which is a particularly nice one. 134. So I'm going to set that there. I'm going to set a course, just going to get it identified on there. So that gives us an ADF needle towards that VOR. Where's this one? VOR2. Why are you tuning that if you can't receive it? Very silly indeed, Mr. Airbus. Oh, I'm actually going to choose Malang 116.10. So why do I do that? Well, if I've got two VORs, I can triangulate myself. If I go onto nav mode, I now have two VORs and I know which heading I am from either of them. So in the worst case scenario that my Airbus completely runs out of electrical GPS power, and I still have these two readouts here, I could theoretically position myself on a map based on my heading to each of those radial from. Those 2 points cross on the map somewhere and I'm somewhere in between. It's quite a nifty bit of triangulation possible. It doesn't look like that's going to be a problem at all, because it's a simulator and I haven't programmed that that is going to be a problem. I probably should program that that's going to be a problem, but oh well. There you go, starting a left turn now. Well, there you go, it starts sounding like Captain Obvious at this point, but you know, this is what happens when I do a stream. I can't keep everyone entertained for this long. Most of the time it's just me talking. There you go, lovely scenery though, look at that, we've got beaches down there, mountains here. Using Google Maps replacement mod set to Bing Maps updated, so basically the live big data that you have currently if you do look for something on Bing Maps rather than 2014 data of the game. It just means, I mean, this area here for example is still missing some data. It is, we're in the areas of the world where this is actually necessary to actually see anything. If I had kept my data there's a very good chance that a lot of this would just be auto-generated, so we've got something at all, which is already an improvement. Flying over the bay now, there's a kind of Bali's over there really. I don't think that is Bali anymore. Yeah, that is Bali, so that's the island of Bali back there. And we're coming in over this bay area here, and basically there is a island to the north here, somewhere along there. And basically our little landing area is going to be in there somewhere. Surabaya. Sending below 20,000 feet, going to go back to arc mode, because I just prefer it for visualizing stuff, and I can actually see both of my headings there now. Now you can see we're now basically on a very long final, and our airfield is going to actually be somewhere ahead. We'll switch over then to performance at some point. VRR mode, ILS mode there. But we're doing arc mode, so we're doing a GPS approach. Bog on flight level 130 below at 230 knots. That's a constraint to hold into, that's a star constraint, not an approach constraint. watching a TikTok or something like that, you know. Right, what else is going on? So yeah, we're just going to aim for that altitude restriction, flight level 150, seatbelt signs going on. We're more or less lining up with the runway now. We're going to be doing a final approach heading of 280 degrees, as you saw here, 278 I think it was. So get the chart up now. Yeah, so actually we're already on the chart. Just want to go on to the particular chart, which is this one. Where are we? There we go. Coming into Bogom. 130 max 230 knots, Versa, and then we'll be within the arrival area. On a runway 28 approach. Mandatory 35 at Sadbu. I'm just going to set 35 then, aren't I? There we go. And the final approach course 278. Minimums are set, approach data is set, and ground spoilers are armed. Go up to 130, we've got a decel point here, so the descent profile has basically programmed that in there. As you can see, we've actually had no issues during this descent. I've got no too steep paths, nothing weird's come up actually, and I'm on profile more or less most of the time, which is actually a nice change. I have sort of missed the profile a few times in the past. So that's being fixed. There we go, there's our decel phase. So reducing now to 230 knots by Bogong. We've got 1.4 miles to do that at the right altitude. And this reduction in vertical speed has been programmed into the profile. As you can see, we're maintaining that green dot just left of the altitude, so we're right on profile really. Okay, when the thing starts flashing standard, then we'll switch over to, there you go, 1200 is now the thing needed, so we need to descend a bit quicker. And at some point we will go over to our local QNH 1009, I think it was. Yeah, 1009. There we go, it's starting to flash now, so 1009 is going to go out. There we go, that's our profile, below 10,000 feet, landing lights on. Taxi lights to take off. Runway turn-off lights to on, even though those only are active when the gear's coming out. Which makes me think, what's the point in turning them on now? I'll turn them on when the gear's out. Just the landing lights on then. We're on our final approach track now. No runway in sight. Still got 30 miles to go. So, I would say this is quite a tedious, boring approach, but that's just the way it is really sometimes. 10,000 feet now, just coming down gently. Very uneventful, you might say. Feet. Nothing's going on. It's a very gentle time, really. Still holding our 230 knots. $6,000 feet. 5,800 feet. Yeah, so not very interesting right now. We've got some nice interesting things going on in the water. Some scenery out to the right. There's our, as I said, we're approaching kind of like a U-shaped water bay. So we've got a bay here. We'll be landing on the land ahead, and then there's a bit of a bay here. Let's put terrain mode on just so you can see. There it is. So we're in the water, bay left, bay right. We've actually got some terrain there, so we're not higher than those mountains, so we probably shouldn't fly over there. But we're nowhere near the mountains really, so that's also fine. I'm going to reduce the range down now to 20 miles. Oh my. And we're now going inbound to our waypoint there, which we mentioned, Sandbu, at 3,500 feet. And then we'll be on our VNAV altitude, well, not our altitude, I've just done our general descent. We're coming up to another descent reduction speed point there, which is our 180 knots limitation there, 190 knots Sandbu. And because there's a limitation of Tibet of 150, I am actually going to engage approach mode now, because it's not going to work otherwise. Because that would only have been engaged after Tibet, otherwise you saw the D that was there. Basically we don't like that. So there we go, final approach just being armed. And the aircraft just pitching up slightly to catch that glide path. Reducing to 200 knots now. We'll try and do this manually, but if it is a full-on... I mean, I will have to land manually anyway. I don't think you can do auto land with GPS approaches just yet. Maybe with GLS approaches, but those are relatively rare still. .200 knots. 3,000 feet. Johnny talks about altitudes and speeds during the live stream. Fantastic. It's more of a case of I don't want to have this massive file saved on my disk card, because I don't have that much space left, because I've got a humongous Flight Simulator directory full of Flight Sim TO mods. So I just have it on a live stream, so it's just uploading straight to YouTube, which is what I end up doing anyway with the video, so there's no point in recording a 45-minute, hour-long video when I can just straight upload it. Let's put the taxis and takeoff lights on now, because we are going to lower the gear in a short while. Runway not in sight, just coming up to 7.5 miles to the runway there. Not even, I think it's a bit further than that. Yeah, it's just a 10-mile range, more or less. It's just inland of the thing there, so I'm just going to check that the QNH is correct. Okay, it's saying 1010 now. I'm just going to refresh of this and see if that is definitely correct. 1010, we've now got 5 kilometers of visibility, 2403 knots and 2423. 2403. 5k visibility, haze. So we could now do the circle to land in all conditions if we needed to. However, circling to land is no point right now because we are facing the correct direction. You can see the haze layer below. That is actually a pretty good haze layer. As you can see, it's kind of, you sort of don't know it's there. You think, oh, it's just like it's a, but then you look around, you go, actually, when the sun catches it, it's almost completely dense. So yes, I would say that is an accurate haze layer. I like that. That's good. Let's set flaps 1, gear down, water brake low as discussed. 34 minutes flight time so far. Turn off the pressure there. Landing elevation auto. Delta P is 0.8 psi with the outside air. Okay, so flaps 1 is set. We just need to slowly whack in the rest of those flaps. We've got 4.2 miles to go. So because I can't see the runway, I've actually maybe made all of those decisions a little bit late, so you can see why there's probably a fixed point where you're supposed to turn those on. So flaps 2 going in now. We've got the drag now, so as that flaps 2 comes in, you'll see the vector for the speed dropping off, as you see on the left and right, quite a nice big arrow downwards. Runway's in sight, we're not quite established for stabilised yet. There's 1,000 feet, we should be stabilised by here, but we'll just do it a bit lower. Ballooning over the glide path now, so it'll be a late capture, and then sorry, the day was we did lots of short approaches, lots of hectic approaches, lots of kind of last minute configuration changing. You know, no need to put the flaps in yet. Nah, we can leave that. I'm literally doing the flaps like now. It works in an Airbus too, it's just not company procedures. 500 feet, now we're stabilised.
100 above.
Yeah, we'll be continuing. Runway in sight.
Minimum.
Continue.
$100. 40, 30, 20, retard. Five.
So I think that's November 3 Sierra already just missed. So we can take off this November 2, I think it is. It's a high-speed exit, so we'll just brake on the right-hand side and a bit of rudder to get us off. As the braking happens on the taxiway, we're going to turn right towards the main terminal. Welcome to Surabaya. 19 knots, right turn all the way around. Crossing over the river here. Let's check Chinese looks. Wouldn't say that was my smoothest landing. We somehow reduced our vertical speed too much over the threshold. I missed the 50 call out and then flared a bit too aggressively. We'll see what happened because of the stutter. Right, let's just make sure we'll stop the right mark. There's A320. That stop. Go back. Don't do that in real life. Yeah, 146 feet per minute at 0.9 HEs. Landing was, actually accurate this time, just before the last touchdown zone marker, so within the limits really. And we've stopped over at another terminal. There's another whole terminal down the other end. which I obviously haven't seen because I'm in fog. But over there, basically, that is another terminal. I think this might be cargo. Looks a bit like cargo, doesn't it? Oh well, we'll stay here for now. Let's see the terminal. That looks more like it. That's almost identical to Bali. Same sort of terminal style with these pointy roofs. Very pretty. Yeah, that's a 5 kilometre visibility haze. Or a fog, actually, I'd call that. But yeah. Lovely. Let's turn the engines off then. Boom, boom. And the plane turns off. And the people are going to have to take a bus to the terminal. Ooh, what happens if I press evac? Do I get any... No, I don't get any slides. Can they maybe animate slides? Because that'd be fun. Although when you press evac, all of the doors open. Nice.